Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are talking about assisting or enabling, and how do we tell the difference when we're assisting a person or when we're enabling a person. So this one is kind of a trial by fire, which a lot of ascension is a trial by fire, because we really have to be able to pick apart the reality before we can really assess whether we're assisting someone or enabling someone, because it's kind of a flip. It's kind of two sides of the same coin in a sense. There will be a lot of times in this process where you will be called upon to assist people. And technically, when you're in your ascension process, you are assisting everyone who will come after you, and you are assisting the people who come before you, because you're raising the vibration of the planet and making their life easier. In a sense, they're not having to hold everything in place on their own. You're assisting the people that are in your same ascension. I'm going to use the word class, because we all kind of are coming in different waves. Usually you'll see it as waves, but I guess I'm probably going to look at it and say class. But there are 3 waves or classes in every year, every 10-year period. And then it collapses into just like that one group, that one wave, or one class of people that came through in that 10-year period. So you're going to be helping the people that came before you. You're going to be helping the people that will come after you. And you are going to be called upon to assist humanity. You're going to be basically living assisting humanity after a while. You're going to be called upon to assist people that you know will not be there to assist you. And that can be sort of the tougher part of it, because our human consciousness is going to say, why do we have to do this? Because this person won't, when the chips are down, this person is not going to be there for us. But that's not really the point. The point is to expose them to higher consciousness, to expose them to what it means to act from your highest space all the time. Even when, you're not getting anything out of it, in a sense, anything monetarily that anyone can see, or there's no reason for you to be here. Just the point of being here, because you could assist someone by being there. Your presence being there is what's important. So there's going to be times in realities where we do that, and we know we're almost paying it forward. We'll assist them, and eventually they'll assist someone later on when it's their time to do something to assist. But there's everything we do every day. There's probably a zillion times a day where you could look at a situation and just take this would be a good activity to do for a day. Just write down everything you could have done to assist someone that you didn't do during the day, whatever it was. And it doesn't even have to be a person. It could be like, okay, I walked past a piece of garbage on the street and I didn't pick it up. I just kept going. I could have held a door open for someone, but I didn't do it. I could have smiled at a person. I didn't do it. Instead of talking to a person, I wasn't looking them in the eye. I was looking down, which means usually we're locked into the past. We look up, we're kind of dreaming about a future. We're not kind of in present moment in a sense. So look at where your eyes are when you're talking to people. Look at where you're looking. Are you looking at them directly in the eye? A lot of people that are strongly still rooted in their human consciousness don't like to be looked in the eye. You find that they'll kind of look away. They don't like that direct contact. But look at what you could have done throughout the day that you didn't do, because it wasn't easy. You would have had to go out of your way to do something, even though you saw it needed to be done. I saw the trash can out and I could have bought that up, but I just walked by it. So just kind of take a note and don't judge yourself for what you did or did not do. That's not really the purpose of the exercise. The purpose of the exercise is to see all the things every day we can do to make a difference. I know I used to put carts up at grocery stores all the time. I know I've told this like a zillion times, but I would put carts everywhere I go. I just see carts, I just start putting them up. So like with that one person thought I actually worked at the store, because I was always putting up carts. Whenever I was there, I'd take an extra 10 minutes, and if I saw some carts around, I'd just take them back. And that's one thing I would do, because it was something I could do. And it would help out the people who needed that, and the people who were going to have to do that as part of their shift. They didn't have to do that now. They could go do something else. So there's always something we can do. But our human consciousness is so focused on everything else, it's not really looking around to see, what could I do? How could I make this better? than how I left it. How could I assist this person? I have something that could assist this person. Why am I not doing it? Do I not want to really get involved with what's going on? Should I not get involved? And some of these questions can run deep, and we really have to look at the reality and decide in that moment, is this something I should do? Or am I now going to be tipping over into enabling a person to not do it for themselves? Now, to me, I don't get into enabling that energy, because eventually when you have a human consciousness involved, you will eventually get into enabling. Because if you have shown you're going to do something for someone operating from their human consciousness, and that's not a judgment, we all operated from that was our base operating system in a sense. When you're in a human body, that's your operating system, to use computer terms. So we all operated from that space, so there's no judgment in saying that. We all did that. But if someone is operating from that space, anything you're doing for them, they're going to assume you're going to continue to do it, and they're going to not want to do it for themselves. Or they'll say, oh, I can't do that for myself, or I don't know how to do that. And the key thing for me when I really look at this is, how many times have I done this already for the person? Did I do it a couple of times and I assisted, whether that was, time, money, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all energy. All those things are energy, so it doesn't matter. Am I now hampering the next step of their process? Am I trying to stop a train from hitting them? Even though I know that that's probably what's going to move them into consciousness, is that train hitting them. So am I just delaying that? Or do I really have a purpose here? Or am I just holding on to a reality because I want this person in it? So I want them to feel like I'm important, so I'm going to kind of linger around the reality and stay in it with them? Or is there a real reason for me to be here anymore? Or is it just we keep playing out the same stuff? Normally you're going to start to see the repetitiveness in it, and you're going to keep playing out the same reality with the person over and over and over again. And then you start to get into that enabling energy where you're not serving a purpose. If they asked your opinion and you gave it, and I always preference that. I have so many people say, well, I said my opinion, but they didn't do it. And I'll always ask, well, did they ask for your opinion? And usually the person will say, well, no. Well, then us giving an opinion nobody asked for, that's on us. That's our own need to be in that person's existence, in a sense, in that person's reality. If no one asked for your opinion, it doesn't matter if you could say the most profound thing in the world, they're not open to hearing it, so it doesn't matter what you say. So you can kind of look at that energy too. Where are you kind of interjecting yourself in a reality? Especially if you're around a lot of people, living with people, where are you kind of trying to inject yourself in? Because let me try to make that easier. Look at when you say those words. I want to make it easier for them. Now, are you trying to make it easier for them in a sense of, I want to make it easier for them because I have the capability to do that? Because we all do have the capability to make a lot of things easier for people. Or am I doing it because I don't think they can do it for themselves? Look at the story you have around why you're doing it. And if you've done it repeatedly, are they now just counting on you to do it? And they're not going to do it for themselves. So when we talk about this, I just lost my computer, so I lost my light. I lost my light. And then actually is kind of maybe the next part of this I'm going to go into. We will start to drain ourselves. And when I say drain ourselves, we will start to kind of drain our light. Our soul light will drain a little bit when we're trying to keep a lot of realities up for people. And knowing if we stop doing it, we have a whole story around what happens if we don't do it anymore. Or if I leave this job, or if I leave this relationship, or if I leave this friendship, or if I leave this space, whatever it is. We have a whole story around, oh my God, all this terrible shit's going to happen. And sometimes we'll even start putting on weight because we're kind of carrying the burden of the reality. We're carrying it all on our shoulders in a sense. You might have shoulder pain. And there's a lot of things that are gonna start to, and you're exhausted. If you're starting to get exhausted, then you're carrying the reality. Now there might be a part of you that knows, and I'm always gonna say no here because you just know I'm supposed to carry this for a while. But I know when there's a but there. When there's a but there, there's a kind of a, what is that saying? If there's a but, there's a no to the, you're saying no to your universe, or there's a stipulation. You know that at some point you will not have to do it anymore. You're fulfilling a contract. You're paying off a karmic debt. There's a reason, but there's also a point where there's a shift that'll take place where okay, I'm done. Like I know I was in a soul agreement with a person in a sense where I knew I was supposed to be in a certain place to be around the person for a certain amount of time to activate their field, to do all these things. I got to a point I didn't really enjoy the reality anymore. I enjoyed what it could be, not what we had. Not what the reality had turned into. But I also knew that I couldn't quit the reality because I'd made a promise. I made a soul promise to do this. And I knew when it was done, it would be done. And I was going to follow it through to the end. And I did. And sometimes we'll know, we'll get maybe let go from a job, or in my case, the person moved away, and that was my sign. Here's your sign. You're done. That reality's done. You no longer have to continue to pull the weight of this reality or be in a reality where you're not getting what our human would say, anything out of it in a sense, because we're carrying it. Not anything out of it whereas, oh God, I want to get everything out of it, but anything out of it in a sense of the purpose I was here for has now played itself out. The relationship won't grow anymore. Everyone needs to go off and do separate things for a while. We might come back together, we might not, but it's kind of done. And staying in it is now hampering them, and it's hampering us too. So we really have to be very honest with ourselves on why we're still there and if we really serve a purpose. Because you're going to find when you get to certain spaces in this journey, if it doesn't serve a purpose, you are out with the quickness. Because it has to serve a purpose. And if it no longer does that, then you're like, okay, screw this, I'm out. I'm out. This is a waste of my time. And you'll start to see that, especially with relationships you've built over a longer period of time. You'll start to see that they can't grow anymore. There's too much programming in the way, human programming in the way. They're separating off when it comes to money or this or that or that. I was there for them, and instead we were there for them. They're not there for me. And over so many years, okay, can't grow anymore. Why am I still putting in time into a relationship that has it at this point where everyone is energetically has reached all it's going to go? Especially if you put a lot of time in it. Like if you've invested I know I look back at a relationship I invested 4 or 5 years in it. And it was this one pivotal moment where I needed assistance with something and they could do it and they didn't do it. I just remember how devastating in a sense that was for me, because I'm like, boy, after so many years of being in a reality, and that was it. It's not going to grow past the programming. And that's probably where you have to look. Can this grow past the programming? And if it can't, usually people have to go their separate ways for a while. Usually you're not appreciated in a reality till you've left it, because it's taken for granted you're always going to be there, and it's taken for granted that you're always going to be there with open arms in a sense. And in a way we are, but there does come a time in a lot of these realities where we've done what we're supposed to do. The humans in that reality, the human consciousness that people wants us to stay there, it doesn't want us to leave it, because to them we played a role. To them we were a mirror of them, a higher aspect of them. We triggered something in them and they want us to stay in their reality, but there's no balance in it. There's a time in the beginning where you're going to hold a lot of things in place and there won't be balance in it. But then there comes a point where that's distorted now, and you can't do that anymore, because now it's a different phase of your process. Usually you'll start to see the drain when you're moving into a different phase, because now it's so distorted, it screams at you that this is not aligned anymore. So it doesn't mean that these people might not come in again. They might. Our human likes to tell ourselves that, oh, these people will never come in again. We don't know that 100%. They might come back in. You might get a different version of them, a different aspect of them. But in this current iteration, this has gone as far as it's going. And anything else I'm doing now is holding myself back and delaying the next part of my journey and delaying theirs. Because when we talked in the beginning about all the different waves, it's the same thing. You know, they're a wave that's going to come in. They're a class that's going to start their ascension at some point. And the longer I delay that, then that's going to be support for me later, in a sense, when they're coming through their ascension and they're raising their vibration for me who maybe came before them and the people who will come after them. They're a pivotal part of the process. They're a pivotal part of the whole equation, in this sense. And if I'm delaying myself, anyone who has the capability of consciousness, who is going unconscious because they don't like what they have to do and they don't want to do it, is technically holding all of us back. You know, once you have the capability, it takes a while to gain the capability. It takes years to gain the capability to be able to hold it. But once you do, and you see what's not aligned, when you see things have to change, when you see things have to shift, and we're not doing it, then that's a big red flag that we've got so many attachments and stories and programming wrapped up in the reality. So it's a good thing to look at. Okay. Keep practicing the art of intuition.